Discover the dramatic and tragic story of the Romanovs, the last royal family of Russia, and the revolution that changed history forever. Russia, a vast land of icy plains and dense forests. For over 300 years, it was ruled by the Romanovs. Tsars and Tsarinas held absolute power. They presided over a glittering world of palaces and extravagance. But beneath this opulent facade, a storm was brewing. The year 1905 saw the first tremors of revolution. Workers protested, demanding better conditions. The Tsar responded with force. This only fanned the flames of discontent. Life for the ordinary Russian was harsh. Poverty and inequality were rife. Many yearned for change. The Tsar Nicholas II seemed blind to the plight of his people. He clung to autocratic rule, resisting calls for reform. His resistance, however, only fueled the growing unrest. The seeds of revolution were sown. Among the Tsar's opponents, a new force emerged: the Bolsheviks. Led by the charismatic but ruthless Vladimir Lenin, they preached a radical ideology. Communism, they called it. They promised a society without classes, without inequality. A society where the workers held the power. Their message resonated with the disillusioned and the desperate. Support for the Bolsheviks swelled, particularly among the urban working class. World War I would prove to be the Romanov dynasty's undoing. The war was a disaster for Russia. Millions died. The economy teetered on the brink of collapse. Tsar Nicholas, determined to rally his troops, took personal command of the army. This proved to be a fatal error, leaving his wife, Tsarina Alexandra, in charge of the government. Her German heritage and reliance on the mystic Rasputin made her deeply unpopular. February 1917, the streets of Petrograd, the imperial capital, erupted. Women, driven to desperation by food shortages, led the charge. They were soon joined by striking workers and mutinous soldiers. The Tsar's authority crumbled. He abdicated on March 2nd, ending centuries of Romanov rule. Russia was in chaos. A provisional government composed of liberals and moderate socialists struggled to fill the void. But the Bolsheviks, waiting in the wings, saw their opportunity. Lenin, returning from exile, issued his famous April Theses. All power to the Soviets, he declared, referring to the councils of workers, soldiers and peasants. The Bolsheviks, with their radical promises and ruthless efficiency, began to seize control. In October 1917, they launched their coup. The provisional government was overthrown. The Bolsheviks were in power. Russia would never be the same. The Romanovs' final days. The Romanovs, meanwhile, were prisoners. After the Tsar's abdication, they were placed under house arrest. First in their palace outside Petrograd, then in the remote Siberian town of Tobolsk. Nicholas, Alexandra, and their 5 children lived in limbo, their fate uncertain, their future bleak. They filled their days with simple routines: reading, gardening, playing games. Glimmers of hope for release flickered and died. Foreign powers, including their British relatives, debated intervening, but ultimately did nothing. As the Bolsheviks consolidated power, the question of what to do with the Romanovs loomed large. Some argued for putting them on trial. Others advocated for their exile. Lenin hesitated. He knew the Tsar and his family were potent symbols. Their presence, even in captivity, threatened the revolution. A decision was needed, one that would seal the Romanovs' fate. Section 6, The Legacy of a Dynasty. Reflections on the Romanovs and Revolution. The execution of the Romanov family sent shockwaves across Russia and the world. It was a brutal act, shrouded in secrecy and lies. The Bolsheviks initially claimed only the Tsar had been killed. They denied any involvement in the deaths of the Tsarina and the children. The truth emerged slowly, piece by piece, in the years that followed. The execution of the Romanovs remains a deeply controversial event. Some view it as a necessary act of revolution, a symbol of the old order's destruction. Others see it as a barbaric crime, a stain on Russia's history. The Romanovs met their end not on a grand stage of history, but in a dark basement, far from the gilded cages of their palaces. Their story is a reminder of the fragility of power, of the chaos and brutality that can engulf even the mightiest of empires. It's a story that continues to fascinate and horrify a century after it unfolded. A stark reminder of the human cost of revolution and the enduring power of the past. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more historical insights.